We are here at Chesapeake Lightcraft. We're gonna go meet these guys for the first time in person. We've been talking to them a lot on the phone, and we're gonna go check out the space they have here. Probably start building the canoe. Hey Ed, I can meet you guys. Good to meet you. Finally in person.
Yeah, really. This is John.
Hey John. Billy.
You.
Nice to meet you in person. Yeah.
Hi, John. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Before we got started building, John gave us a tour of Chesapeake Lightcraft. This is the showroom and retail shop. You can check out a bunch of completed Chesapeake Lightcraft boats in here, or you could purchase hardware, accessories, building supplies. This showroom is open to the public, and I highly recommend if you're ever in the Annapolis area, just stop in and check it out. It's really cool to see all the finished boats in here, and my favorite out of all of them is probably this one, the Lighthouse Tender Peapod. I can't neglect to mention this awesome little teardrop camper. This is one of Chesapeake Lightcraft's top selling kits, and it was really cool to check out the demo that they had completed here at CLC. On our way to the CNC room, John stopped to show us what their manuals look like when you order a kit from Chesapeake Lightcraft. This is the CNC machine room, which houses this large 3-axis CNC machine. This machine is constantly at work, cutting out components from marine plywood to be put into kits for customers to build their own boat. Here are a few kits packaged up and ready to be shipped out. This is the large wood shop, which is really important for making components that can't be cut out on the CNC machine. It's also really important to have for all their prototyping work, such as the Outrigger canoe that we're building. This is the custom build and repair shop. You might like something that CLC has to offer, but you don't think you have the time, or you just don't want to make one of their kits. You can actually hire CLC to make what you want for you, or you can hire them for repairs. And lastly, this is the room where we'll be spending most of our time. This is the prototype shop and classroom when they are hosting a class.
There it is.
How many frames are there?
This is 1 foot, 19.
Right? We're gonna place all these stations, frames or stations, right, Jay? Molds on the strong back in order. They're all numbered. So here's 1, here's 2, and they cut them out on the CNC machine they have here. We'll line them all up. There's 19 of them, and that'll give us a nice frame to strip cedar strips over and get the nice fair shape that we want for this boat. Before we go any further, let me introduce you to a few more guys who are integral in this project. This is Jay, Steve, and Cody, and you'll see a lot more of them throughout this canoe build.
I go straight from the bank, gassing up the tank, cranking up the radio, playing old Hank. It ain't that long till I'm back with the farm. I'm pulling up the truck down at the dock. It's time to do some cruising, baby, get a little stuck. It's a Saturday joyride, Percy Beast is the spot to take the blues away. We're on a boat, we're feeling fine, drinking Tennessee whiskey, a big blue sky. We're going up, we're coming down. There's
Pretty close.
Before we moved on, we checked and made sure the molds were all nice and straight using these long battens. So we're putting this blue tape on all these molds so that when we glue the strips together, they don't get glued to the stations, to the molds. They just get glued to the tape, and then we can peel it off.
Here's the feeling, alright, it's a hell of a time. A hell of a time. Yeah, we're chilling out here, ladies in the rear, her feet in the water, her top disappears, drinking Malibu Patron.
Western red cedar, same as the rest of the hull. Put the pattern on and then trim this and then mark the back here. I did the same on the underside. So now all you have to do is connect this line to the midline to make a wedge.
So that's what's called the stem, and there's one on either end of the canoe, and this is one that Jay made already. So you can see the shape that we're going to end up with the other one as well.
Front of a canoe.
With all the molds in place and the stems temporarily glued on, it was time to start stripping. Not that stripping. First, let's make a few strips with Jay here. This is the special machine that Chesapeake Lightcraft has to make a bunch of strips at once. You simply insert a board, and out on the other end comes 10 perfect strips, with a cove on one side and a bead on the other.
Alright, strip number 1 going on.
Is it better to have too little than too much?
Yes. So who does the video editing?
So we're not quite finished with strip planking the canoe yet, but we wanted to get this part glued on. This is a stringer, and it, along with the shear panel, is how we kind of step out the hull and make it a couple of inches wider, just at the height of where we're sitting in the boat, just to give us a little bit of extra width.
Right there. Perfect. So yesterday we almost finished strip planking the whole canoe. As you can see, there's just a little bit of space left. So we had to go over the center line, and then we'll draw a line down and trim directly down the center line, and then we'll finish the last little bit to the center line, and then that'll complete the strip planking. Had to go stripping it yesterday.
Pretty good. She's looking more like a boat.
We just trimmed down the center line, and the last few strips are going in. Closing up the hole. Alright, this is called the whiskey plank, the last plank that we're putting in here. Why is it called the whiskey? Just because you're supposed to take a shot of whiskey. Oh, you should have brought in whiskey.
Prepared.
I know. Look at that.
They usually keep beer in the fridge.
So here we're starting to take all the staples out that hold the strips into the molds. How's it going?
We only got about 5,000 more to go.
Is it bad though? It's pretty straightforward.
Some of them are in pretty deep, but no, it's not bad.
Here, Jay's just planing down the stringer and tapering either end till it's flush into the canoe, in preparation to install the shear panel later on.
Cody and Steve are getting ready to glue together the shear panel here. So that's a part of the boat that goes here, basically. Be this big wide strip, just like that. But since everything's cut out of a sheet of plywood, it's only 8-foot lengths, but this thing's like almost 20 feet, or 20 feet long.
About 20 feet. So there are 3 sections that we're gluing together with puzzle joints.
So this is how it's cut out on the CNC, right? Just little puzzle joints. But does this have any of these joints or no? Oh, right here. Started sanding. We took a couple hand planes and we planed down just the high edges where the 2 strips connect and left a high edge, and now we're sanding with big long boards to get a super fair surface across the whole thing. This is 80 grit, so this is like the rough sand. We're just fairing in all the staple holes and imperfections and gouges and strips that are kind of lower than the others. And then we'll sand it down again, and then probably do more fairing after that, Jay.
And so continues the process of sanding and fairing and sanding and fairing to get as fair a hull as possible with no low spots and no high spots. This is important on any boat, but especially a sailboat and especially a small, long, narrow sailboat that you hope to paddle efficiently as well. So at the end of our first week at Chesapeake Lightcraft, we have the main hull of our double outrigger canoe fully strip planked and super fair, and we're ready to move on to a few of the next steps. We'll see you next week.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you would like to support our channel, make sure to check out
The Tula shop.
where we have a bunch of different designs, including these two, and many more.
And if you have any interest in what we're doing in this video and what Chesapeake Lightcraft has to offer, make sure you check out the link to their website in the description below.
Thank you so much for watching.